One of my favorite outcomes of some of the work I get to do with folks is when they realize that magical real estate where things get easier for them and more powerful for those I serve. Today, I want to talk about how we reach that magical real estate, the mindset strategies, and a few examples. Whether I'm working with organizations around the curricular approach, around strategic planning, or working with senior leadership teams about how to lead more effectively, one of the things that they start to realize in this moment or this example is it's possible for this to make it easier for us and more powerful for those we serve. That might be our students, that might be our faculty and staff, that might be the communities in the region of our nonprofit. And once you realize this just in this moment or in this project or in this initiative, it becomes kind of addictive. You want more of it, you want more of it, you want more of it. We're all trying to do more with less, or maybe moving towards less with less, or maybe even moving to this place where we try and do less so that we can be more. I call that place this magical real estate where things get easier for us and more effective for those we serve. Today I want to talk about mindsets, strategies, and examples. Let's begin with mindsets. What I just mentioned is this: how do we do less so we can be more? This is a powerful question. A powerful question is a question that really serves us in the asking of it more than it does in any particular answer we might come upon. And so if you can think, how could we do less so that we could be more as an institution, as an organization, as a team, just you in your life, or as a parent, or in your wellness and well-being, or any aspect? The answers aren't easy, but it's a great question to ask, ponder. It can really help lead us to new places. We need to balance being entrepreneurial, creative, and innovative, which is great and wonderful, with being editorial. Most of us are great at being entrepreneurial. We come up with new ideas every week, every day. We're terrible at being editorial. What are we going to let go of? What are we going to stop doing? We need to balance that. For every new idea, you should let something go. For every new initiative, which ones are you going to let go? A few strategies that I find helpful. One is this essentialism activity that I often do with groups that I'm working with. We have everybody in the group individually write down the top 5 things that they could stop doing or spend a lot less time, energy, and resources doing. After giving each person a chance to do that, then we have them grouped in their organizations, their office or department team. And we have that team then say, all right, after all of the examples individuals have shared, what do we as a group think could be the top 5 contenders? And then we share that as a group. And this can often lead to leaders with 3 really great outcomes. One, there's often easy wins, things you just go, okay, everybody's frustrated with that, let's stop doing that. Let's not do that anymore, or let's cut that back. So some easy wins, which you can have immediately and really boost the morale and gets people thinking about more places where they can practice this. The second place are places where we don't have total control. That's a process that someone else in the organization either controls or we collaborate with. And we might need to engage in some conversations, some processes, and see how we can get to a place where we might be able to let that go or reduce it. And then the third place this leads are just really critical things that people who are doing them don't understand why they're critical. If we don't understand the purpose, if we don't understand what's really behind it, then we can't really be effective at doing it, particularly when things don't go as planned. And when do things ever go as planned? So this essentialism activity, leading you to those 3 categories, can be really helpful in moving forward. The second strategy, is clarify your aims collectively. Oftentimes, I know what's important to me, what I think is important to the organization, but you have a very different view of that. And the AVP has a different view, and so has a different view. And we're all very busy pursuing what we think is important, but that's not shared. So how do we create shared, collectively created, co-created aims to clarify our purpose? And then how do we align our actions with that? Collectively shared aims, purpose, goals, and outcomes can be really powerful in bringing in some of this streamlining. And finally, we want to avoid the tyranny of more. It's just so easy to say, well, I'll just stay a little later. We'll do 1 more thing. We'll do 3 more things. We'll just extend training by another day. We'll just add that to the modules. We'll just add that to the requirements. It's easy to do. And then if you keep doing that over and over and over again, it becomes untenable. It's like a Jenga tower that's swaying and tipping over. We need to create some stable, grounded things that looks like we created this from scratch, even though we probably built it up over years. So how might we look at these things fresh? A few examples that often come from this mindset and these strategies. One is rethinking meetings and emails. Now, can we get rid of meetings and emails? You might wish it was so, but that's actually how you communicate with others, and we need more communication and collaboration. We just need to use meetings for what they're intended, thinking together, and emails for how they're intended, to share information. It's when we mix those up that we end up stuck. So let's make sure we're using meetings and emails for the way they're intended. Another common outcome of this is we need to streamline approvals for employee leave, hours, expenditures, things like that. So some of these routine things, how do we streamline that to make it easier, simpler, put it in the right person's hands who has the right authority over that and responsibility, or make it less frequent? How do we batch some of this? Another thing that people come to is cutting back regular reports. If you have a weekly report, what if it was 2 questions instead of 6? Could that be mostly the same? Mostly good? If it's weekly reports, what if it was monthly? So how do we reduce some of these regular reports? I often hear people spend a lot of time creating them, and it's a huge pain and it's a huge bother, and then those that are sharing them don't have time to read them. If that's the case, let's let go. If they're really critical, what is critical about them? Let's focus on that and let's move forward. And then how do we merge similar initiatives? Sometimes I'm doing this and you're doing something similar the next week and you're doing something similar the next week. How do we merge that into one mega event that really draws everybody? You can save time creating multiple events, space, staffing, incentives, tables, so many different things. How do you bring all of that together? Number 3, let's cut overlap and redundancy. We don't need every unit getting credit for that thing that is important to the vice president. Who is the best to deliver that in the best way? Let's eliminate redundancy that we don't need, but also remember that messaging, learning, culture change is about relearning. So where is that overlap intentional and on purpose versus where is it us just trying to curry favor and be busy with a leader who said, this is really important. We want everyone focused on this. And finally, we want to invite people to live into the intention of what can we let go. I see a lot of folks doing a lot of silly things around reducing budgets by just this little bit here and this little bit here, undermining morale and discouraging people. What if you treated them like important people who have a lot of insight, gave them a full lunch, told them how valuable they were, offered a few awards that align with the new priorities, and then said, we'd really like your ideas. In the next 90 minutes, we'd like you to think individually and collectively about ways we might be able to save $10,000 to $50,000 that wouldn't be missed and might actually be helpful in us achieving our goals. That might be a much better use. Once you start doing this and encouraging it and validate it and affirm it and praise it and make hard decisions, and people see that this isn't just a brainstorming activity, but something that leaders are making movement on, they'll come to you with more ideas. And top-down cuts are often have unintended consequences. Bottom-up cuts often free people up to do the things that are most important to move the organization forward. So if you want to live into this magical real estate where things get easier for you and more effective for those you serve, think about the mindset strategies, and I've shared some examples with you. If you think I can be helpful in helping your organization think through this and realizing more of this magical real estate, let's connect.